cozy. Hello and welcome to Heather and Hops. If you are new here, it's lovely to welcome you. My name is Katt. I'm a knitter based in Hertfordshire in the United Kingdom, and this is my little space where I have shared my knitting journey from Project 1 until now, which is over 3 years deep, and I'm kind of delving into other fibre crafts and learning what I can about sheep breeds and fibres and all those kind of things. We have quite a nice little community over here. I'm very grateful to find some like-minded and some different-minded but very accepting people in the world of knitting, and I hope that you will join me. It feels like it's been ages, so I am a little bit like that, if that's a description, but if you've been here, you'll know that I've been a little bit all over the shop lately. I've been really busy. We've had a really busy kind of summer and have finally kind of slowed down, and it feels really good, but for a little while I was all over the shop. I couldn't settle myself or feel grounded, but after a really nice weekend I feel a lot more myself, and yeah, hopefully I can take this slow and chat through all these things that I've been working on. And I always use the word working, but I don't feel like knitting is working, and I'm also trying to compartmentalise that, which I'll maybe get into a bit later. One moment. Oh. Okay, we're all sorted hopefully. Little Audrey's in. She has just come straight in and settled on the sofa. It's like a futon thing. I'll take a video of her if I can. I assume she's not going to move. She might. Audrey's the in-house mascot, if you don't know who she is. She's very sweet. I love her very much. Yeah, so I hope whatever you're doing while I'm here chatting away with you, you have something to keep you company, be it a nice beverage of choice, and maybe a knitting project, maybe a sewing project, maybe nothing. I do have a coffee today and it feels good. I'm enjoying it. I'm taking it slow. I have my cute little mug. There's a little kitten on the side. I haven't used this in a while. I feel like, yeah, I don't know, that's a strange sentence, but I feel like it's because I'm settling in rather than just using the two favourite mugs I have. I'm mixing it up. Feels good. Yeah, like I spent the weekend mostly offline, which was really nice. I watched some vampire TV, which I've been doing quite a lot recently. I am not up to date with campaign 3 of Critical Role, but I'm hoping to get back on track with that soon too. I feel like I really wanted to enjoy it and immerse myself in it, and with my brain being as like on fire and mushy, it's the best descriptions for it, I didn't want to start watching it and not really be fully there, so I'm very excited for that. And yeah, I guess I'll share what I'm wearing. Not that maybe I should not sit like this. So this is the Cherry, which is a pattern by Midori Hirose on Knit Cafe Midori. This one I knitted at the start of 2020. I think it was the week before we went to see a band called Slipknot for Alex's birthday, and I just wanted a new mohair top. This style of top, kind of really lightweight, airy, oversized, is my favourite. I think I like to wear a fitted top underneath, or a bralette like you'll see in a bit, and then and black really is my favourite thing because it goes with everything. So yeah, the contrast colour, not that you'll see it that well, was something that I dyed myself. It's just a mini I really enjoy this pattern because it's very, very easy to modify and to create a very different feel. Like if you knitted this using a worsted weight yarn and two really contrasted colours, you get a beautiful but very different type of garment. I modified this one quite heavily. I went down quite a lot of needle sizes. I didn't do as many increases. I feel like, again, I could have adjusted the rate so that it fitted a bit better, but I do like this bit. It's very wide and the sleeves aren't quite huge. I did the sleeves maybe a bit shorter than I should have done. The body maybe a bit shorter than it should be, but I quite like that it cuts off perfectly for me here in this, when I wear it like this. Maybe if I did another version I would do a slightly longer one. But yeah, I think that's all on that. And this one is, I wear it most of the time when the weather turns, and it's just an improvised 1x1 rib beanie knitted in black heather Letlopi, and this one was drops black mohair. I think that's that. Yay! But we do have quite a bit. I will put this precariously on the sofa because I am wild, and I will share the first thing that I think I finished. I'm sure it was, and it was knitted using this, which is a bit like this Lopi yarn, but it's unspun. This is Lopi. It's an unspun yarn. If you've not used it before, it means that you can quite easily pull it apart. There's no spin to it, but you can also very easily give it a little rub and it joins itself back together. So it's a different type of knitting, I would say. If you haven't tried it, I recommend giving it a go. If you're a very tight knitter, you might want to hold it double. I'm quite a relaxed knitter, so I find it quite an easy transition from knitting with a spun yarn. But all that to say, I purchased 3 plates of this to knit the Tolk cardigan, and I have all this left. I think this is probably, I don't know, 30 grams? So I couldn't get another Tolk out of it, but I'll be able to get something decent out of this. Maybe a spare hat, just in case, because I thought I lost this one last week and I got quite upset. It might be lighter, it might be nice to knit, but I'm not sure. So we'll see what happens with this. But I really enjoy it. If you're really sensitive, I find this a really difficult thing to discuss, and I've had quite a few people talk to me about it lately. I don't find this itchy at all. Like, I'm not sensitive to this toothy yarn, and it's very, very warm, and because it's unspun, it's very lightweight. But I do recommend trying it if you're not sensitive. And I have finally finished the Tolk cardigan, and I think I went in and looked on my Ravelry page. I think I started this in September, and I am not adverse to having projects sat on my needles for a longer time. That doesn't upset me. I like to have a certain amount of things on the needles so that I have different types of knitting to do to keep my brain occupied, or mindlessly kind of knit accordingly to how I feel. But this did sit there for a while, considering how practical this item is. But I'm very pleased it's done, and I really am happy with the fit and the outcome. It's 150 grams of yarn, so it's quite a lightweight jumper considering it's so warm. I'll insert some footage of me wearing it because I'm not going to put it on over what I'm wearing because I will get too warm in the house. Yeah, this pattern is up on the screen by Albiona, who I think does not just very beautiful patterns, but very mindfully constructed, and all the little elements are to either make life easier or to really give a good fit. And I love the shoulder shaping on this. And it is called the Tolk because it's the ultimate lazy cardigan. And I have to say, it was very, very easy. And if you are a newer knitter and have been a bit nervous about knitting a cardigan, this has increases and decreases, and it has some twisted ribbing. But other than that, there's no seaming, there's no applying button bands after, no picking up stitches. It's beautiful. I did start, and I'll openly admit, I started adding buttonholes. I think there's 2. And then I stopped, and that was for 2 reasons. One, initially I was a bit unsure if I'd ever use a button, and secondly I thought, well, actually I don't have the buttons, so what I'll do is I'll just go in and make buttonholes afterwards if I need to. And the more I think about it, I don't button up this sort of thing. I've never really used cardigans in that way, so if I do, I might use I have one hairpin that I use as a shawl pin, so I would probably just do that if I really wanted it done up. But I don't wear a cardigan when I want to be wearing a jumper, if that makes sense. So it's not, all that to say, I don't want buttons on this, in a nutshell. But yeah, if I'm gonna wear a jumper, I'm gonna wear a jumper. But I love it. It's beautiful. The only adjustments I made for the whole thing were just changing the rate of decreases on the sleeve. I didn't want them to decrease too much, and I only ended up doing 2 sets on each sleeve, and I couldn't be happy with the fit. I think I went down a needle size or 2. No, I didn't. I just went back down to the ribbing needle. I didn't do any extra decreases. I didn't want it to be too, I think it was a 3.25, maybe that's one smaller than what's recommended. But yeah, so I'm very happy with it, and I would knit it again in an absolute heartbeat. I have no reason to. This is everything I ever need in terms of a cardigan. At the moment I have a black, really loose one knitted in drops alpaca. That is just really lazy and a bit like this. It's just easy to wear, easy for me to dress up and dress down. And then I have this, which is a really warm, very classic but beautifully shaped item. I didn't do any shaping on the body. Again, I don't feel like I don't need that. It's not really what suits me or what I wear, and it makes it perfect from band t-shirts to funky little tops like this. So 10 out of 10 recommend this as a pattern. I'd be happy to suggest it to everyone that needs a cardigan in their lives, or a cardigan pattern to knit for others, because again, it comes with so many different modifications, and it's so lightweight when knitted in an unspun yarn. It's just wicked. And if you live somewhere a lot cooler, it doesn't get that cold here. Not yet. I mean, eventually it might. But you could knit this using the Lopi held double. You don't have to use an unspun yarn, but the fact that it's so light, but if you held it double, it would be the warmest item. And if you held it double with mohair, you'd not need a coat, you'd just be fine. Anyway, yes, I really like this pattern, really happy with it, and I'm surprised it took as long as it did, but I think it was simple knitting and didn't take much brain space, and I was after projects that kind of did take a little bit more of my brain space to calm me down, bring me back. But instead, I have done another couple of very simple projects. So there you go. Talk, beautiful pattern, knit it again. I love what I'll be honest to be. And it smells weird, I'm sorry, I can't describe it. This batch of Lopi smells like, it's almost like a dry cleaners. There's something in it that's not nice, but I haven't blocked it. I've given it a little steam, but that's it, and that goes for everything here actually today. There's been no blocking, and I will when things are blocked and I'm not wearing them, I will, show them if I can. Well, we're having a waffly chatty number today, aren't we? I think I really needed to talk to you. I really do. Let's do this one quickly because this is a very quick, basic thing, but this again, I'm trying to be more, I've been working towards being more mindful for months and months and months, and I've always had as mindful as I can approach, but the more I figure out what I like to wear and resettle, the more I really know what that is. So I've knitted yet another Jessie May My Secret Little Crop. I think this may be my 8th, maybe my 9th. I've knitted a few of these for gifts. I feel like for me they're incredibly practical. I will wear this as like an underwear layer, for a better word, and just as a layering piece over fitted long sleeve tops or under tops like this. But I finally have a black one. It couldn't be more practical. I had a really deep grey one knitted in this beautiful super fine white gum wool it was from Australia, and it was gorgeous, but unfortunately it got felted in the wash, which is unlike me. Oh look, you can see a little end poking out. And then I knitted a few other versions after, and I've got, I love all the versions I've knitted, and I have knitted the my summer crop, I can't remember the full name of it, but the non-ribbed kind of version of this, and this wins hands down. I really have to admit, hands up, I do not like the other pattern. It never quite worked how I wanted it to. I don't like the way the neckline sat, and that might be to do with the way I bound off, but I didn't like it. So this is the one for me, and I will go on about it. I think there's some people have had some troubles with the gauge, and I've just been very lucky. I've figured out that I can use the same needle size. I think I do the second size as opposed to the smallest, and it's perfect for me. It's very practical, it's very wearable. I wear them all the time, nearly every day of the week, and once some of them I've got tend to stretch out quicker than others. That tends to be the superwash ones. But yeah, I would definitely add a few inches on the body, and I could go longer, but I quite like when they fit just above the belly button, because they do stretch out a little bit over time. But yeah, again, this is a very, very wearable, practical item for me. It's not necessarily the most interesting thing to show, but I love these things. It's something that I will continue to knit them. It might be that I end up having 3 black ones and that's my wardrobe. I feel like I'm heading more towards not getting rid of colour. That's not the right phrase, but just it's more practical for me. So the more of these style of items that I have, the better. Obviously not overdoing it. And while I remember, now I do feel a bit more settled on myself, I will be putting some of the jumpers that I said that I was going to pass forward onto Ko-Fi. I know that a couple of people have laid claim to items already, and I will put them on there and get that sorted. But there will be a few more things going up there. I will put my hands up and say I will do my best to include if things don't have the ends woven in or not, but what I won't do is weave them in, because I think actually this was my good excuse. That is still something that I think is really practical. Not weaving in somewhere like the underarm is really handy, because if you get a hole in something, you have the right yarn to darn it rather than not. So all that to say, I will be putting these items, jumpers I want to pass forward on Ko-Fi. It will be up to you to donate if you want, but it means that you can cover the postage so that I'm not just sending stuff out at my own total loss, if that makes sense. not that it's lost. I'm really excited. I've already seen a few people wearing my jumpers, and that makes my heart really happy because they're getting used and worn, and yes, so that's going to happen. Great pattern, very practical for me. It's weird if my folks are here and my family are here, but I don't wear wire anymore. I haven't worn wire for years. It was the best thing I ever did. I wear my sports underwear when I need to, but this is perfect for me. I am a rectangle bodied person, and this is perfect. My coffee drunk already? Nah, it's only been 10 minutes. Oh, it's 20. It takes 22 minutes, I think, for caffeine to start having an effect. And this is caffeinated, but a single shot, because yes, otherwise I'd probably be standing on my head about now. I am definitely in a better place. Thank you so much, and thank you for everyone for being patient. I am really... Stop gushing, Kat. Anyway, I'm very grateful, and this is another one that kind of sits in the all black everything practical. Okay, this maybe isn't that practical, but it is for me. This is the Look at My Holes by James N. Watts, and as you can see, it definitely has holes. This, for me, is a very cool pattern. This is something that I kind of wish I had growing up. I'm very grateful that I have now. There's a few quirks to it. So you cast on a very few number of stitches with a very big needle, and then switch needle sizes. I think it's written for DK or Aran weight, maybe even worsted, don't hold me to that, but I did modify this. So I felt like I didn't want my chains on here almost to be too chunky, so I ended up holding the Super Soft by Holst, which was the first time I got to use this yarn, double for the ribbing, so anywhere you can see ribbing I held it double, and then for the main bulk of the body I just held it single and didn't adjust the needle size. I also ended up adding 2 repeats, I think, to the body. I could easily have done more, and yes, so we'll get back to that in a second. The whole Super Soft is lovely. I only gave this a quick dunk. It didn't get a full blocking, it's just, it has been worn quite a few times already. So it's due to be washed again, and I think it, from what I understand and what I've experienced, it really does soften up quite a lot from knitting to being washed. Lots of colour leaked, but I feel like if there's oil in something and it's dyed, the spinning oil, it sucks it out. I don't know what I'm trying to say because I'm coffee drunk, but I do think that a lot of dye came out, but it's held its colour quite perfectly, so I'm not upset about that. I will knit this again. Whether I knit this in black or something slightly different, I'm not sure, but I want to knit a slightly larger one, and what I might do is do the same and use a fingering weight yarn, but just knit a couple of sizes larger size, and I want to do it so it's full length on the sleeves and longer on the body. It will be almost like a different Varpu. I love these pieces that can be all layered together, and I feel like if I had one of these, I have 2 mesh, like sheer black tops, and then with one of these over the top, I will be warm and layered and easy to adjust out and about. If you don't know, I've suffered with being unwell for quite some time, and my temperature shoots up and then plummets, so having these sort of semi-sheer air trapping layers for me is great. I can quickly change without carrying heavy, bulky items with me. That's the bane of my existence, is always carrying too much stuff. I think most of you might understand what that's like, but so being able to have these style of layers is just great for me. Very fun to knit. I really enjoyed the kind of the construction and the ways of doing the holes. So it's a simple raglan, that's all it is, but the holes are quite a simple, easy technique. Once you get the hang of it, it comes with a video to show you how to do it. It's very simple. I think I ended up doing one full repeat, and after that I was able to sit in front of the television and just knit it without thinking. So yeah, very different item if you are after something that is very quick. I think I finished it in 2 evenings. It's like the same as a hat, maybe. I think it would be really fun to do in like bold colours, and even to do it striped, so each like repeat is a big bold stripe, but that's just not really my thing. But also I feel like you could probably do a mohair held double and then a really heavy thick like cow neck, turtleneck, and some really tight ribbing and some bigger like oversized. I feel like that would be really cool too. Maybe in the future I'll do that in black, because black. But yeah, I feel like this has got a lot of scope for some cool looks. I know that Maria of Woolen Forest knitted this, and that is the way Maria wears it is lovely. I've been doing the same, wearing it under a dress, so it's a layering piece. Yeah, and that's all. Maria's lovely. And that is that for black knitted items. I'm gonna hit pause because I have been waffling. Okay, you can't quite see, but little Audrey's just here. She's come to join us. Oh, she's taken my seat, but I'm gonna shuffle and get comfy again. Yeah, so other than the all black everything, I have finished a pair of socks. I'm so happy with them. These are, well, this yarn is by Wool Matters, and I'll grab the ball band because I'm rubbish. Everything, all the branding, that is just beautiful basically. And it is the natural sock set in 100% Shetland and Romney lamb's wool, and it is botanically dyed by hand, and the set came with, I think it was, well yeah, it was 100 grams of this gorgeous colour and 20 grams of this one. I haven't used almost any of this, and I've managed to get a tie for Alex and have this much left. I did decide to keep a bit back because I thought I might keep this for either a contrast colour in some of my plain natural socks, or to just pair with this into another set of socks. So I'm amazed at how much I've managed to get out of this sock set. I know that quite a few new sets have just gone up on Instagram. This set was called Leaves, and the yarn, I've said it before, but it looks really, it looks like it will be really toothy, but you can tell it's lamb's wool. It's super soft to me personally. And I knitted these toe up, and I did a 3x1 rib all the way up to the cuff, and I did a long 1x1 rib, and I've done it in a way that it will sit above my Chelsea Doc Martens, and also be folded and sit quite cute, I think quite cute for me, with my plain Doc Martens or Vans. So this is as long as I ever need a sock personally, unless I'm going to knit myself a pair of like stockings or tights, which I'm thinking I might have to do. I feel like woolly tights are way better, and I just haven't found the right pair online yet. So yeah, really happy with them. I did a heel flap and gusset, which is, this is all kind of now my go-to. I do a standard sort of wedge toe, half patterned, half not. I feel like I am enjoying, unless the yarn I use is striped, I do tend to need some interest in a sock, even if that is only 3x1 rib. I think minimal but maximal, if that makes sense. So a beautiful simple cable or ribbing is as much as I need. I don't need a complex lace pattern for socks. That brings me joy, and the right amount of joy. This heel is lovely for me. I do think this sock yarn in particular, because it's slightly heavier, I think there's 360 meters per 100 grams as opposed to sort of the 420, 400 that we usually sit in. I only needed 60 stitches for the foot, and I used a 2mm needle, which I actually believe is what, I think it's Sarah, I feel bad, I can't remember her name, but the owner of the company, I think that's her go-to as well now. And it fits beautifully. And then I do a bind off, I do kind of, I think it's the stretchy, Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off with the knit two together. And the way I almost always bind off everything I do is half or a third that method and half the classic method, especially if I'm not doing an I-cord or anything, because I find that it gives me loads of stretch without too much flaring. This has flared a little bit, but once they are washed and potentially blocked, hopefully it'll even out again. But I'm really happy with them. They feel amazing, and I'm looking forward to wearing them and being able to come back and do an overview of my no nylon sock knitting so far, because it has been interesting. And I do have something that I want to show you. I won't tell you what it is, but some of you might have a little bit of a panic when I show you how much of a not rebel but ridiculous human being I am. Yeah, really happy with these. I am so glad that I splashed out, because I do feel like this is splashing out, but at the end of the day I was able to get a tie and a pair of socks out of the yarn, and I think the sock set was £27, I want to say. I'm not 100%, I think that's right. And that was through the support of Ko-Fi. But I think you could probably, you know, looking at this, maybe not, you know, you get 2 shorter pairs of socks out of it, I would imagine, if you've got semi-small or medium size, I don't know, well, medium feet. I think I have a 5.5, depending on what shoe company. But yeah, really happy with them, and they feel good. And I have to say, Alex has already tried to lay claim to them, so I think what I'm going to do is a shared sock drawer kind of situation, because we don't at the moment, but he keeps going to take my no nylon ones in particular, so we'll share these ones. And I really do have quite a bit more to talk and share, but I think just in case I want to have another slightly slower week in terms of knitting, I've got a few other things I'd like to do. I'm gonna hold it back, and then that way I have a few more things to share next time, but also will actually spend a slower paced time talking about them, if that makes sense, because I feel like I could end up talking to you for like 3 hours today, and we do not need a Lord of the Rings length knitting journal episode. We'll do this quickly. Very cute bag. It is from Girl So Sheepy, who I don't think makes bags anymore. That was a gift from Rebecca the first year I started knitting, and these cute little badges are from Samantha Enon, and it says keep growing, and Samantha's just been an illustrator that I've kind of watched and followed and chatted to for years now. But this is fun yarn. This is by Stripy Katt Yarns, and very kindly we did a swap. So I sent her a lovely, well, a kit for they're here, the elf slippers in our local yarn, and she very kindly sent me her nutcracker base, and it's non-superwash Highland wool, and she sent me a full skein and a, not a mini, but a larger of the contrast colour. So I have got this far. I am trying out some higher, I'm so used to using them, some child glue needles for the first time. I am using 2mm because that is absolutely my sweet spot for sock knitting now. If they're superwash, I do tend to use a 2.25. I don't really know why that habit stayed, but it has. I think I just don't like the feel of nylon being knitted so tightly on my hands. I don't know, it just doesn't feel so good. Wedge toe, and I'm just knitting straight because the colours are bringing me so much joy. I don't feel like I need to. I feel like the colour is stunning, and it's really quite rich for a non-superwash base. A lot of knitters have been hesitant because they think that, or dyers, you can't get good colours, but I beg to differ. This is beautiful. It's so fun. It's a bit 70s is what Alex said. He's already semi-claimed these ones. Whether he gets them or I get them and knit him another pair, because I will knit them quite short for me and I should be able to get another pair out of them. This colour reminds me of mince pies, which makes me really want to make a mince pie. I don't know why. It's a not quite pastry colour or mincemeat colour, but it makes me crave them. And yeah, I love how this feels. I think this is kind of a feedback run almost, so that hopefully Stripy Katt can stock and sell this, because no nylon is what I'm interested in, and hopefully we can encourage more. I understand why some people use it, and I'm not judging anyone for their choices at all, because I make some poor choices in life. How's that for honesty? Yeah, really enjoying this. The stripe repeat is just bringing me so much joy and ease, and yeah, I'm quite looking forward to playing some more D&D to work on these, or go out on an adventure of sorts, because this style of knitting is my take it out of the house knitting. Yeah, can't report anything on the pattern because again, this is no pattern, it's just a wedge toe straight up, but I had to share. It's so much fun. So I'm gonna put that away, and I am already on the heel increases here, but yeah, very happy. I think the last thing that I would like to talk about is something that I will maybe do more of just a video on next week, think that would be fun. Maybe I'm wrong, let me know before I spend hours doing a bit of research and planning. I did, with the help of Ko-Fi, and very kindly Magnet sent me a link to a spinning wheel. It's quite a simple basic one, but it was almost serendipitous. I won't bore you with all the details yet, we'll talk about it next week I think, but basically a friend picked it up for me, which was perfect, and straight away I had to try it. Basically, even though I had other priorities, I did spend an evening spinning, and very quickly after ended up with a full skein of yarn. So this is my first spin. It is, I don't think there's such thing as questionable hand spun yarn, but there are parts where there's basically no spin in it at all. I very quickly have got used to it. But I did a 2-ply yarn, and this is just, this was some lovely organic white wool that lovely Bee sent me. Thank you so much. When she sent me some hand spun yarn that I used in my shawl recently, and it was really nice because I am the lovely person that sold me the wheel is part of the Buckingham Spinners Guild, and had put on some, I think it was merino, a neon pink merino, which is not really my jam, which is fine, but I felt like quickly I was getting used to it, but because I didn't love it, I wasn't spending, my heart wasn't in it, so I quickly swapped over to this, and I loved it. I enjoyed the process. It's so squishy, and I can't wait to use it and talk a bit more about that. My heart bursts because I am that much closer to start to finish project, you know, starting with the fleece all the way through to a finished designed garment. And it's coming. We are moving forward step by step, and it's really nice to have a different craft to go to, and that is something that I might talk about a bit next week too. I'm trying to do a little bit less knitting because I'm trying to do more in the daytime and consider it work, and not because I have to, because I want to, but I'm trying to include a few more other things into my world. So I want to do a bit more reading. I went to the library today and got out a book that wasn't knitting related. I did also get a knitting one, and I will give maybe feedback on these if that's interesting, but I just want to know that I'm not always knitting, because I do finish a lot of projects because of it, but also sometimes you just need to have other things, a little bit more multifaceted, like I feel like I should be and am. Does that make sense? Am I waffling? I think I am. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to share a bit more, be available a lot more for the next few weeks, settling in, hibernating a bit, reading some vampire stuff. Yeah, let me know what you're reading if you want to. I am excited that Maggie of the Sonder Knitting podcast is back with her reading and everything. Yes, please take care of yourselves, look after your loved ones, stroke a dog, as Alex would say. Be excellent to each other, don't forget to love each other, and I really hope to see you again very soon.